This is a personal story and a special dedication. Mom died when I was 6 years old. Her arms still warm but turning cold. She left behind more than her name, a newborn brother, fragile and named. 2 weeks old, he barely knew her face. Yet in his cry, I felt her grace. I wiped his tears with trembling hands, a child myself, yet trying to stand. They took us to the village. No lights, no sound, just broken dreams on dusty grounds. Dad was there, but hollowed and worn out, carrying grief that couldn't be mourned. There was no money, no steady meal, but pain too raw for time to heal. We learned to smile through aching cheeks and hope in silence week by week. Still, I clung to Dad, though he looked away. Lost in debts he couldn't pay. He tried. Oh God, he tried so hard. Then 2021 came knocking loud, with coughs and fear and funeral shrouds. COVID stole him quiet and fast. Just like mom, he couldn't last. Now orphaned fully, with none to call, no mom or dad to break my fall. Just me and memories, thin and small, and a baby brother too young to recall. I grew up fast, with scars unseen, between scrapped knees and shattered dreams. But somehow in the dark I knew God had not forgotten too. So here I stand. I still survive. The orphaned heart that stayed alive, and wishing that someday my parents could come back alive and see what I have achieved. And though I cry when no one sees, I carry love through memories. Because I am made of those I've lost. And though they left, I bear the cost. Yet in their absence, I have grown. Yeah, a soul built strong from broken stone. Some nights I whispered to the skies, asking God the when and the why. Sometimes no answers came, just stars and air, yet somehow I felt He had me there. Now I walk, not whole but true, with pain behind and purpose renewed, because every loss carved space inside. Therefore, until my time comes, I will hold on the courage, the faith, and the grace. Yeah. They didn't clap. Not when I tried. Not when I stayed up all night just to prove a point. Not when I kept showing up with a voice no one heard. Instead, they looked away. They shrugged. They asked, "Are you still doing that thing? Like passion has an expiry date?" At first, I thought maybe they were right. After all, who was I? Just a girl with a dream and barely any support. But even in my doubt, I couldn't walk away. Sometimes I showed up because I didn't know what else to do. Other times I showed up because I had no one else to lean on. But eventually, I showed up because deep down I believed there was more in me than they could see. Their silence kept screaming. While I was waiting for claps, I got quiet rooms while I poured my heart out. They scrolled past it like it didn't matter. Still, I stayed, and then I grew. Truth is, it wasn't easy. Some days I felt invisible. Other days, I almost convinced myself to quit. However, something always pulled me back. Maybe God, maybe grit, maybe both. Slowly, I started creating not for applause but for healing. Gradually, I began to show up for me, not for them. And eventually, the seeds I planted in silence began to bloom. The same people who didn't believe in me started to mention my name. Suddenly, I was someone worth remembering, and now they tell everyone they knew me back then. They say, "She used to live down the street. We went to school together. I always knew she had it in her." But the truth, they didn't. They didn't see the nights I cried asking God if I was still on the right path. Nor did they hear the doubts in my own voice. They didn't witness the late nights, the lost friendships, the broken confidence. Yet through it all, I stayed. Because one thing I've learned, belief isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper you have to follow when no one else does. Now, when they talk, I listen and smile, not because I need their validation, but because I remember what it took to stand here today. In the end, their disbelief built my discipline. Their silence taught me how to clap for myself, and their absence showed me how to never give up on me. So yes, one day, the people who didn't believe in you will tell everyone how they met you, how they know you, how they have grown together with you. Let them talk. Let them tell their stories. Let your journey be the proof. And while they speak, you'll keep walking, not for their approval, but because you already know who you are. You walked with silence stitched in your steps, a heart that holds more loss than sleep. But oh, how strong your quiet has grown, much deeper than the world can see. No lullaby, no hand reached out to calm your fear. Yet still you rise with every morning's light. Still you stay, still you persevere. The word orphan doesn't define you. It only hints at what you've known. You carry more than what you've lost. You've shaped a life and made it your own. They might say you are an orphan. But listen, you're not just a voice without a face. You breathe like fire behind the sound. You've built a soul from shattered ground. You wear your courage like a crown. You laughed through pain that tried to break you. You gave your heart though it bled tears. You dreamt with scars across your chest, a warrior far beyond your years. You held yourself when no one stayed. You wiped the rain and fought through storms. You turned brokenness into bricks and built your hope where no one was born, and built hope where none was born. The world missed the nights you cried alone and wished you had a parent to just call and vent. The moments when you questioned worth, but heaven etched your name in gold long before your feet touched earth. You walk with strength that silence taught. You bloom where no one thought you would. You found your way with no one guiding. Still, you chose to live and understood. They may ask, why you? In hushed regret. But grief can't steal your sacred bliss. You rise with thunder in your chest and move with mercy dressed in grace. Let them call you orphan still. You've lived the truth they'll never know. So stand with pride, unbowed and broken, with eyes that say too much to fall. You don't just bear your story's weight, you rise and carry us all. This is a special dedication to all the present fathers. I don't know where to begin, because thank you feels too small for the mountain of love you've carried and the steady hands that held me through it all. You never wore a cape, but you were my hero anyway. Not because you flew, but because you stayed. Stayed when life was heavy, stayed when my dreams were still whispers, stayed when I didn't yet believe in myself, but you did loudly, proudly, endlessly. And you kept reminding me of how proud you are. You are never just a provider. You are a presence, not just a name on my birth certificate, but the voice that reminded me I am capable. When I stumbled, you didn't shame. You corrected with compassion. You saw my mess but still saw magic in me. I remember how you'd wait up late, even when you had work at dawn, just to make sure I got home safe, even when I rolled my eyes, even when I didn't say thank you. Dad, I see it all now. Every sacrifice wrapped in silence, every dream of mine you folded into yours. You never asked for applause, but today, please hear it. In every line of this poem, thank you for choosing me. Thank you for choosing to show up. Thank you for not being a deadbeat dad, but a father by heart. Middle class, maybe, but to me, you gave a rich life. Rich in love, rich in support, rich in laughter, in quiet strength. You are the reason I chase my dreams, with faith instead of fear, because you built me a home where love was louder than lack. So today, Dad, I honor you, not just for what you have done, but for who you are, the most important man in my world. And if I ever become even half the human you are, I will have done well, because I'm your daughter, and that in itself is a gift. Always create time for you, because sometimes we give so much of ourselves to others, pour so much love, so much energy, that when they leave, we are left holding nothing but emptiness. We forget that we matter too. We forget that we also need to heal, to breathe, to find our own light again. And when everyone else walks away, we stand there confused, hurt, broken, clutching the holes in our hearts, not knowing how to stitch them back together. But listen, time alone is not loneliness. Time alone is medicine. It teaches you to appreciate yourself, to give yourself the attention you've been begging the world for. It's in that quiet you start making future plans. It's in that silence that you forgive yourself for the mistakes you've carried for years. It's in that stillness you learn the power of being whole, without needing applause, without needing someone else to tell you who you are. Alone time teaches you to become more of you, not the version people expect, not the mask you wear to survive, but the raw, unfiltered truth that has always lived inside of you. So listen, create time to spend with yourself. Yes, you. Take yourself out, go watch that movie, dive into that swimming pool, take a long nature walk, sit in silence and breathe, pray, meditate, journal, do anything that doesn't involve another person but helps you reconnect with you. Because if you can't sit with yourself, how will you ever know yourself? Do it at least once a week, and if life gets heavy, then twice a month, or once, if that's all you can manage. But whatever you do, don't get too busy for yourself. Don't get so busy that you forget the most important person in your life is yourself. Always create time for you, not tomorrow, not when things settle, not when someone else makes you feel worthy. Because your soul has been waiting, because your heart has been whispering, because your healing, your peace, your growth depends on it. So create time for you too. One day I'll stumble into the very thing that I've been chasing in silence. Not when I'm searching, but when my heart has almost given up. One day I'll look back and smile, seeing how far I've walked, how many nights I've prayed, how many times I carried hope as the only thing in my pocket. One day my stories of hunger and waiting will turn into laughter, because pain will no longer sting, it will only remind me that joy was worth the fight. One day my song won't be about survival, it will be about victory, about how broken roads led me to doors I never imagined. The tears I shed then will be nothing compared to the tears of joy I'll shed now. God is writing my story. From nothing, He's making me something. From ashes, He's building beauty. From my scars, He's shaping my strength. And when it falls into place, my life will no longer just be mine. It will be a lamp of hope, a melody of joy, a living testimony that God makes the impossible real. One day I'll sit with others who are still walking, still searching, still holding on by a thread, and I'll remind them that waiting is never wasted, that God's timing is never late, and their story too will turn into light. One day I'll realize the wilderness was a training ground, that every setback was a step forward, that every unanswered prayer was a redirection, and I thank God for every not yet that led me to the perfect now. One day I will not tell my story, I will live it out loud as proof that faith carries, that hope heals, and that God always finishes what He has started in me. Yeah, one day. Be silent in anger. When fire fills your chest, for rage often speaks what is far from our best. Be silent when stories are missing some parts, for words built on rumors can shatter soft hearts. Be silent when facts have not yet been confirmed or harsh assumptions haven't been earned. Be silent if truth would offend or degrade a soul that is fragile, already afraid. Be silent when wisdom tells you to hear. Let silence be louder than words and clear. Be silent when tempted to mock what is holy, for sacred things aren't meant to be spoken lowly. Be silent when sin feels like something to jest, for laughing at wrong gives evil a nest. Be silent. Be silent if shame would follow your voice, or if speaking may tarnish another's choice. Be silent when matters aren't yours to explore. Not every closed window needs you at the door. Be silent when lies try to slip through your teeth. Truth is more costly than words underneath. Be silent. Be silent if talk will tear someone's name or damage a bond you may never reclaim. Be silent. Be silent when judgment knocks at your tongue. Critique without grace cuts deep and unsung. Be silent. Be silent if shouting is all you can give, for words thrown in fury forget how to live. Be silent if friends and your family would fall by the echo of speech that's too narrow or small. Be silent. Be silent if later you'll eat what you said, for pride chews loud words till the humble are fed. Be silent if your point has been made before. Let silence protect what repeats would ignore. Be silent. Be silent if flattery lifts up the vile, for the truth is not bought by a fake shallow smile. Be silent when duty calls for your hand. Let silence speak work. It will help you stand. So guard your lips, your voice, your tone. There is strength in restraint when you're walking alone. For he who guards both mouth and tongue keeps his soul from trouble when days are long. I needed you, but you weren't there. Not just your body, your love, your care. You are a shadow behind closed doors, present in name, but nothing more. Yeah, you were just present in my surname. You taught me silence not with words, but by the things I never heard. Just empty stares, and I told you so. You held the world in heavy hands, yet never learned to understand that strength's not found in stone or steel, but in the way a father helps you heal. Sometimes you shouted when you should have stayed still, left me with wounds too deep to feel. I tried to please you, tried to shine, but your love always felt just out of line. I watched other dads in parks and different places, wishing I could tread my shoes. I blamed myself, thought I was flawed, that maybe I was too much or not enough for God. But I grew anyway, through cracks and scars, through the absent father that you were, found my own light, counted my stars. I built my heart from broken ground and found a softer strength all round. Now I've learned. Forgiveness doesn't mean forget, but I won't let your absence be my threat. I speak my truth without shame or fear, even if you never choose to hear. Because the man I'm becoming won't repeat your ways. I love with depth and give with grace. And maybe one day when I hold my own, they'll never have to feel alone. I forgive you, not because you said you're sorry, but because carrying this pain is just too heavy. I just release the silence, the ache, the rage, so I can finally step off this caged stage. I forgive you. I forgive you not to erase the past, but to free myself at last. The child in me deserved much more, but the adult in me won't keep that score. I may never get the dad I dreamed, but I'll still become the love I need. And in that freedom, I choose to stand. No longer broken, just beautifully unplanned. Dear parent, before you judge too fast, please walk a mile in the shoes we've worn in class. You see the marks, the lessons, the smile. However, you miss the tears we've held in all the while. We come with passion, hearts open wide to shape young minds to stand by their side. Even so, before we truly begin, we are already fighting battles we may never win. You see, you send us children broken from home, with bruised spirits left to roam. While some know no love, just shouting and fear, we are supposed to be their teacher. We try to be calm, yet the cracks appear. We say, be kind, they laugh and curse. Meanwhile, we model virtue, they echo the worst. We greet you kindly. You stare and pass, as though we are invisible, just staff in class. Yet we raise your child from 8 to 4, teaching respect you no longer reinforce anymore. Sometimes we break, we lose our spark as teachers, Our hearts grow heavy, our nights turn dark, not because we don't care or lack the grace, but rather because we are worn in this endless race. The boss wants grades, numbers on sheets, from pupils who barely know their seats. In truth, we are judged on scores, not the love we give, expected to thrive while barely are we able to live. As teachers, we are also human. Kindly understand, although some kids got in not by merit but name, we are blamed when they fail and still bear the shame. We promise rewards, yet none come our way. Even so, we show up every single passing day. We smile while hungry, broke, in debt, carrying burdens we try to forget. At times, we teach with flesh in school, soul at home, worrying if our own kids eat alone. Worse still, we face the pain of being blamed again and again and again, not just by our bosses but also by you parents, because of faults we didn't cause at all, from leaders and parents who let things just fall. So dear parent, before you raise your voice, consider this. We didn't choose this noise. We chose this job to build, to guide, not to drown in the tide we try to ride. We are not perfect, but we give our best, with worn-out hearts that rarely rest. Therefore, the next time you think we've lost our way, please pause, pray. We may just need that grace today. Because being a teacher, it's not as easy as it may seem.